Maker, it's Charlotte with Makesy.
Joanna with the Soap Gal.
And Makesy is so excited to partner with Joanna and the Soap Gal to help teach makers how to make cold process soap safely and in a scalable and successful way. Today we're talking about a highly covered topic, and that is how long does your soap need to cure? So just to cut to the chase and give you guys a little insight into what we're going to be talking about today, Joanna and I are going to walk you through an innovative formula that we've created in order to create soap that is safe to use after 48 hours. Hold on to your hairnets. Okay, so Joanna, tell us a little bit about your path and how you discovered this formula.
Well, in 2015, I was at a farmer's market and I had a customer that would always come in and get the two same soaps over and over and over again. And I had just changed my branding from my, printing it myself to more professional. And she looked at me and she goes, Joanna, I'm a forager for Whole Foods. And I want you, just going back there, I want you to be in my Whole Foods store. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been selling soap to you for like over a year and you have never said anything.
She was incognito.
Oh, very much so. So then we, after, going through all the paperwork and doing everything to be able to be a seller for Whole Foods, she was like, so how many stores do you want to be in? And my answer was, how many stores do you want me to be in? And she's like, can you do 12? And I'm like, 12 stores. And she's like, and I need, thousands of bars. I think it was like 10,000 bars, I remember, in a month. Okay, soap is supposed to cure for 4 to 6 weeks. How am I going to get this opportunity and to be able to do that? So I started to study and learn and do R&D samples, and I came across some books, Scientific Soap Making, and I read that and I watched some videos and I learned about the process in different formulas, which is the formula we're sharing, and I was able to learn that soap is safe to use after the saponification process happens within 48 hours. Yes. And I was able to also, a little too big, be able to do a little bit of a water discount, which we'll get there. And then that allowed me to be able to sell those bars within a month and be able to make all those bars. I had my husband, my brother, everyone was in our little soap studio making soap, trying to get that to happen.
It took a village.
Yes, it did. Literally, yes.
Okay, so a couple of questions, because like I said, hold on to your hairnets, mind blown. I thought that it took 4 to 6 weeks in order for soap to cure.
And so did I.
So,
but
what?
But learning the science of soap making, it takes 48 hours for saponification to happen, for the soap to be solid, and for it to be safe to use.
And what's the difference, or why does anybody think that soap takes 4 to 6 weeks to cure versus what we're telling them now?
I think what happens is they get safety mixed up with the proper packaging for your soap. When we tell someone that this is a 4.5 ounce bar of soap, when we cut it, because of the extra weight of the liquid, the water weight for us to be able to make soap, that is still in there. That needs to dissipate. So the best way to know what is, I don't think safe to use should be the right word, because it's safe to use, but what is a sellable, honest product is by weighing your product. As soon as you cut your loaf, then you take that bar and I kind of have a little spreadsheet. I take that bar and then I weigh it. And so when I first cut this bar, it is, let's say, 4.8 ounces. Then I wait 2 or 3 more days. I weigh it again at the same time. That's just me. And then I weigh it again. Well, now it is 4.78.
Yeah.
And then I keep doing that every 3 days until I get 4.5 4.5, 4.5. Once I get the same number over again within a few days span, now I know that that bar is a 4.5 ounce bar, that there's no more water that's going to dissipate, and that's what I put on my packaging.
So you don't want to sell a bar of soap as a 5 ounce bar of soap when it's going to be a 4.5 ounce bar of soap. And one of the ways that you can get a very predictable result is by following the formula that Joanna and I are going to share with you guys, so that you know exactly what size bar you'll have every time, take the guesswork out of it,
right,
and take that super long cure time out of it. Next, I want Joanna to show you guys a little experiment, because I know a lot of you may be thinking, wait, I thought that my soap is not safe to use after 48 hours or maybe even a few weeks. So how can someone know if their bar of soap is safe to use or not?
Okay, so in this right here, we have a 50-50 lye solution. I want to first show you what happens. So we're going to take this 50-50. Yes, thank you, safety. So we're going to take this 50-50. So that means 100% lye, 100% water. You can't have any more lye because it has to be able to dissolve. So it's equal parts. We're going to take a little bit of this. We're going to add this to water. Okay. Now we are going to take some of our pH drops. And this all has to do with the alkaline.
So Joanna, as you're going through this, talk us through what basically is going to happen based on the pH of lye versus soap.
So the alkaline of lye is over, so alkaline, sodium hydroxide, is over 7 pH. This is probably closer to like between 10 and 14, so it's a toxic. So that's why it's hot pink. But for example, this right here, I poured 48 hours ago. Get it out of the mold. We're gonna put some drops on here. And see, it's clear. That means there is no alkaline. It's safe to use.
What pH is cold processed soap, or soap in general?
So if you have milk soap, it's a little bit less of a pH, but typically it is between 8 and 9.5 is what the pH of a cold processed bar is.
Where did this ever come from? Where did it come from that it takes 4 to 6 weeks for a bar of soap to be safe to use?
So in the late 1800s, industrial lye was made, and they were no longer using ash from like soda ash. So when they made soap in the past, it wasn't really, it was soap, but it was not as mild as the bars that we have today. Because we have the industrial sodium hydroxide, it is safer to use, and that's why the saponification process happens within 48 hours. After 48 hours, the bar is safe to use. The only difference is how much dissipation of liquid. So when you sell that bar, you're selling what the customer is expecting to receive.
Exactly. So if that customer gets your bar of soap 4 months later, or they pick it up in Whole Foods, then you want that weight to accurately represent what your bar of soap is.
Yes.
There you have it. Very innovative and probably shocking to some of you. But Joanna has sold tens of millions of bars of soap using this formula, and we're going to share it with you so that you can scale your business, because that's what we're all about.
That is what the Soap Gal's about. The Soap Gal wants you to be successful. I want you to never run out of soap. I'm going to say another little story. When I first started making soap and I felt comfortable to sell, I went to a farmer's market, and I had 2,000 bars, and I thought it was gonna last me all season because it takes 4 to 6 weeks to cure. I sold out in 2 shows, and then I had no soap for Christmas, no soap for January to be able to sell to my customers. And so I had to start over in February, March, to be able to get those sales again. And I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to be successful. I want you to be able to scale your soap and cosmetic and candle and fragrance business.
Exactly. And so using this innovative formula, we're going to help you guys replicate this process and create soap that is safe to use in 48 hours. So check out our other videos. We'll walk you through the whole process of which components to use, what process to follow, and head to Makesy.com for all of your cold process soap making supplies. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe to our channel to stay in the know on all the latest makers tips and tricks. Now go make it happen.